Welcome to Cinema Bites, your go-to for movie recaps in a flash. Big twists, epic moments, all in just minutes. Imagine that over the years, a married couple named Dave and Sarah have been discussing their relationship in front of everyone. Whether with their neighbors, friends, while shopping at the supermarket, or even in the car. They always argue, scream in each other's faces, and even insult one another. When things get tough, Dave decides to end the relationship forever and leaves Sarah's house. Then he starts begging on the streets, playing music for people, but no one pays attention to him. Later, he has to live with his sister at her house. In the next scene, Felix, his nephew, wakes up to find him sleeping on the couch. He tells him he wants to go to the garden, but his uncle makes him play a zombie game instead. When his sister wakes up and finds him sleeping on the couch, she tells him Felix wanted to go to the garden, but his uncle made him play a zombie game. When his sister comes home from work and sees this, she scolds her brother for letting her son watch such scary scenes. But Dave doesn't care and asks her what they're having for dinner. He doesn't like the mini pizzas and tofu his sister made, so he gets upset and goes out to buy real pizza. Tess and Felix end up having dinner alone. Later, the mother puts her son to bed and tells him a story about a man searching for the love of his life. At that moment, Dave comes back with the pizza. When he hears that part of the story, he reflects on his life and remembers Sarah. The next day, he wakes up and tells his sister he needs to discuss something important. In the following scene, we see both of them heading to Sarah's apartment. Felix is dressed as Darth Vader, and Dave spends the car ride coaching Felix on what to say to apologize to Sarah, hoping she will forgive him and they can reconcile. When Dave opens the door with a spare key, he finds that Sarah has moved on and is with someone else. He gets into a fight with the man, but the man beats him up. When Dave realizes it's truly over, he leaves, shocked and terrified. He almost leaves Felix behind at Sarah's house. When they return home, Tess finds out what happened, argues with Dave, and kicks him out of the house. But when he cries in front of her, she changes her mind and tells him that if he wants to stay with her, he has to help around the house and with Felix's studies. The next day, Dave takes Felix to school. There, Felix introduces Dave to his friends, his crush Beth, and his teacher, Miss Audrey. The moment Dave sees Miss Audrey, he is captivated by her and tries to impress her. He tells her he is a professional musician and a responsible uncle. At the end of the day, he tries to talk to her again, but another teacher interrupts, saying she can't help with the kids' training. Dave decides to use this opportunity to get closer to Audrey. He offers to join her on the trip. Miss Audrey agrees. Later, Dave returns home and starts preparing for the trip with Felix. Tess tells her brother that her son has an allergy, so she puts 2 doses of medication in his bag and emphasizes that they should only be used in emergencies. Once everything is ready, the two board the bus for the trip. However, the bus breaks down midway, and to keep the kids entertained, they start singing. At that moment, Audrey asks Dave to play one of his songs to cheer them up. Dave feels it's a bad idea and tries to avoid it, but eventually gives in and performs. Instead of singing cheerful songs, he plays sad ones, scaring the kids. Fortunately, the bus driver announces that the bus has been fixed, and they can finally continue their journey. After a while, they arrive at the farm, only to find that next to the farm is an American military base conducting secret underground experiments. Here, we see an agent and her colleague walking through the tunnels to monitor the experiments for the Renewal Project. Along the way, they encounter a soldier who has turned into a zombie and is attacking a scientist. They shoot and kill him, then send a team to scan the area. The problem is that other zombies have escaped from the second section. The agent is forced to investigate, while her colleague stays behind to guard the area. While standing guard, the doctor, who had turned into a zombie, wakes up and attacks him. In the next scene, alarms are blaring outside the base, and several military vehicles arrive to control the situation. Meanwhile, Audrey and Dave arrive at the farm, and the kids meet Teddy McGiggle, a children's TV host and creator of a terrifying game. When Teddy sees the kids, he seizes the opportunity to expand his audience and invites them to the show, taking Audrey along to tour the place. While everyone is watching the show at the farm, we see the zombies escaping from the military base, having infected everyone inside. The zombies start looking for humans to eat. They keep moving until they reach the farm. There, a couple and the girl's father are playing croquet. While taking pictures, zombies jump over the fence and attack the old man. Elsewhere, Audrey calls the students to board the tractor, and Dave decides to join them. When Dave looks at the ring on Audrey's hand, he realizes she is engaged, which dampens his spirits. While riding the tractor with the kids, he notices someone teasing Felix for not having a father. Dave gets angry when he hears this and insults the rude kid. Audrey pulls Dave aside and tells him his behavior is inappropriate. At this moment, the tractor driver sees someone eating a goat. When he approaches, the zombie attacks and bites him on the neck. When Audrey sees this, she thinks the man is fighting with the driver and goes to intervene. But when she gets closer and sees the soldier's face, She realizes something is wrong. The soldier approaches her, and she tries to fend him off, hitting him with a shovel, but it doesn't stop him. Fearing the kids might see the horrifying scene, she asks Dave to take them away. Dave doesn't know how to operate the tractor, but fortunately Felix does and teaches him. After Audrey gets on the tractor with them, Dave starts moving immediately. To keep the kids from being scared of the zombies, they try to distract them by playing the guitar. Meanwhile, Dave drives the tractor slowly through the farm, witnessing the terrifying scene around him. With zombies everywhere eating people, he finds the road ahead blocked, making it impossible to continue with the tractor. Audrey tells the students to get off the tractor. As they walk past the zombies, she tells the kids they are playing a game of tag. To win the game, they must avoid being touched by anyone. The kids agree to play and walk in a line, one after the other. The group is looking for a safe place to stay away from the zombies. They manage to reach the bus, but the driver is already eaten. All the cars are filled with zombies. The only solution left for them is to hide in the flower shop in front of them. However, they find Teddy inside, who has locked all the doors and refuses to let anyone in. The group pleads with him to let the children in, but he refuses because he is afraid. Meanwhile, the zombies start getting closer to them, but Doria finds a small tunnel and tells the students to go through it. After they enter the tunnel, they find the entrance door is also closed. Dave tries to keep the zombies away from them by pushing them with a chair and climbs up to the tank, getting stuck above the entrance, which is also closed. Dave tries to keep the zombies away from them and pushes them with a chair, climbing up to the tank and getting stuck above the shop. He enters through the window above and falls on Teddy, who is annoyed that someone has entered the place without his permission. He fights with Dave, and when Dave defends himself, he hits him with a stick. Teddy fears his face will be disfigured, so he runs away and looks in the mirror to make sure nothing happened to his face. Dave takes advantage of this opportunity and hits him from behind with a guitar, knocking him out. After dealing with him, he opens the door for Doria and the children and then sets up barriers at all the entrances. Although the situation is very difficult, Doria tries to show the students that everything is fine so they won't be scared. After a while, Teddy wakes up, and upon finding them inside, he starts yelling at the children, warning them that they will be eaten by zombies. Doria, having had enough of his nonsense, takes him away, firmly telling him that she will not allow him to tie the children up. To prove she is serious, she strikes him with a vase and warns him to calm down, or she will kill him to protect her students. Realizing that she means what she says, Teddy agrees and resumes the show for the students. Meanwhile, Dave searches for water and food. After some time, he finds chips in the fridge and starts eating, unintentionally annoying the children. In his distraction, he completely forgets that Felix is allergic to milk and bitterness. Soon, Felix struggles to breathe, prompting Dave to remember the medicine that had been given to him. He has one dose in his pocket and another in a bag left behind in the tractor. However, while attempting to inject Felix, Dave accidentally injects himself in his nervousness, leaving only one injection remaining, the one in the bag. Felix pleads with his uncle to stay by his side, so Doria decides to retrieve the medicine herself. She enters through the window, climbs down from the roof, and leaps onto a tank before dashing left and right to avoid the slow-moving zombies. Despite their sluggishness, the undead still pose a threat, but Doria skillfully evades them. She finally reaches the tractor, only to find 3 zombies blocking her path. Desperately scanning her surroundings for a weapon, she finds nothing but cliffs. She fights off any zombie that dares to approach and, at last, retrieves the bag containing Felix's medicine. Now, she must return the same way she came, through an area swarming with zombies. But she remains fearless, running through them without hesitation. Meanwhile, Dave stays with Felix, who reaches a critical stage, struggling to breathe. At that moment, Doria arrives, covered in blood but thankfully uninjured. This time, she administers the injection herself, and Felix's condition improves. As the students and Dave sigh in relief, they celebrate Felix's recovery. Doria, seeing Dave's care for his nephew, finds herself drawn to him. Their moment of peace is abruptly interrupted by Teddy, who hears the sound of an approaching helicopter. Excited, he rushes to the roof to signal for help, but slips and falls. As zombies gather around, he frantically knocks on the door, begging for help. Doria, unwilling to risk her student's safety, hesitates. But Dave, unable to leave Teddy to his fate, climbs up to the roof, extends his hand, and pulls him to safety just moments before the zombies can reach him. Grateful and ashamed, Teddy experiences a change of heart. He confesses all his past mistakes to Dave, admitting that he worked in a children's show just to attract mothers but now wants to change and become a better person. Meanwhile, an army prepares to confront the growing zombie threat before it spreads further. Unbeknownst to Doria and the children, the military plans to bomb the area, despite it being in the middle of the farm where they are staying. That night, Doria and the students make a small camp, and she sings to them to lift their spirits. She reassures them and tells them to sleep, believing they must prepare for a new day, completely unaware that there may not be one. At dawn, the army surrounds the area as local residents, including Tess, demand answers about what is happening. She asks about her son, but the soldiers remain silent, monitoring the situation closely. Desperate, she tries to send a message to Dave. At that moment, Dave attempts to put Felix to sleep, but Beth remains awake, frightened. Seeing her distress, Felix comforts her, reciting a rhyming poem his mother had taught him, called Little Monsters. Dave then told Felix that Tess used to tell him the same story when they were little. He smiled and told Beth that whenever the monsters got close, she should simply tell them to stay away. They played for a little while, easing Beth's fears before the children finally drifted off to sleep. Doria watched Dave, noticing how much he had changed. He was no longer just the careless man she had met. He had become truly responsible. As soon as the children were asleep, she sat beside him and told him that they would finally get some rest after everything they had been through. Dave admitted that he was surprised by the way Doria handled the children, taking care of all of them at once. He had spent his entire life only looking after himself, and seeing her dedication made him reflect on his past. He confessed that this experience had forced him to reconsider many things, including why he had ended his relationship with the woman he loved. His fear of commitment had pushed her away, a fear that stemmed from a deep emotional wound. His father had abandoned his family when he was young, leaving him scarred. Doria listened with understanding and shared that she too had endured a difficult life. However, her work as a teacher had helped her move forward and find meaning despite her struggles. In a moment of honesty, Dave asked her if she ever thought about having children. She hesitated before explaining that she needed time. She had only recently discovered that her fiancé had betrayed her. She was still wearing her engagement ring, not because she couldn't move on, but because she didn't want the children's families to think otherwise. After their heartfelt conversation, Dave and Doria found themselves growing closer. Dave reassured her, telling her to get some sleep while he stayed up to keep watch. As the sun rose, the army finalized their preparations to drop a bomb in the area within an hour. Realizing the urgency, Dave quickly woke Doria up, telling her that he had come up with a plan to get everyone out. His idea was to distract the zombies outside while he retrieved the tractor. However, Teddy interrupted with a better idea. Teddy revealed that he had a private transport vehicle that was much faster than the tractor. He suggested that they bring the vehicle to the front of the building, allowing them to escape safely by climbing onto the roof and entering the vehicle. Both Doria and Dave liked the idea and agreed to put it into action. However, just as they were preparing to move, a problem arose. When Teddy attempted to climb the ladder, he slipped and fell. The commotion woke the children, and panic spread as Teddy began pressuring them, insisting that they needed to leave immediately. Dave plays the guitar, and Daria is affected, and the kids are happy. After that, Dave says goodbye to Felix and tells him he will be back soon. Finally, the critical moment arrives, but as soon as Dave and Teddy get onto the roof, they find all the zombies gathered around the place. Dave grabs some buckets and starts hitting them together to attract the zombies' attention, while Teddy goes down from the other side. Suddenly, a zombie attacks Dave from behind, and they fall. The zombie tries to bite him, but Dave pushes it away and runs to Teddy. When he reaches the vehicle, he encounters a group of small zombies, so he attacks them, and then he reaches his vehicle. Dave tries to get in with him, but he finds the door won't open. Teddy has reverted to his selfish character again and decides to escape alone. At that moment, he finds his assistant, who was wearing as the frog, has transformed as well and is sitting in the vehicle. He attacks him as soon as he gets in, and Dave is shocked when he sees this, but he doesn't have time to waste because the zombies are closing in on the vehicle. He climbs on top of the vehicle and then finds himself surrounded by zombies everywhere. Suddenly, his phone gets a signal and rings. After he answers, Tiss asks him what happened and inquires about Felix. He feels at that moment that he is about to die, so he thanks his sister for everything she has done and apologizes for all the mistakes he made against her. At that moment, the toy frog starts to come out from the roof of the vehicle, and the phone falls from Dave's hand. To make matters worse, one of the kids starts screaming, telling Daria to get them out of there. When she tries to calm him down, she calls out to her, telling her that Felix has come out of the tunnel. We see the boy wearing a Vader suit running through the farm and easily passing through the zombies. While he is running, he finds a goat alone, so he tries to help her, but the zombies come after him. He closes the door from a distance to keep them out, and by chance, the door actually closes on him and the goat. After that, he finds the tractor, drives it, and goes to Dave, who is very happy about it, and runs to him as soon as he gets close. Then the two enter with the tractor, and the zombies try to come in through the windows and the doors, so they tell everyone to get on quickly before it's too late. After Daria and the kids get on, they all move with the tractor quickly before it's too late. After Daria and the kids get on, they all move with the tractor through the farm. And even though the tractor is slow, the zombies are slower. so they head towards the exit. The zombies follow them, and all this while Daria sings to the kids. Strangely, the zombies also mix with them with the songs, clapping and playing with the kids to the music. Dave and Daria are surprised, but the kids find it entertaining and keep laughing. After a long journey, they get closer to the exit. On the other side, there are soldiers standing with their weapons raised. When the captain looks at the scene, he is surprised because he thought there was no one in the farm. He finds that the one driving the tractor is Dave, along with Daria. He fears they might be injured and tells the soldiers to prepare to shoot to take them down. But when they look closely, they see there are kids with them. So the captain cancels his orders and tells the soldiers to let them pass. After they pass, the soldiers shoot at the zombies coming after them and kill them all in seconds. All the injured are killed, and the situation is brought under control. Daria and Dave are happy because they managed to save the kids. At that moment, the helicopter strikes the farm and completely destroys the place with the zombies in it. After that, Dave, Daria, and the kids are taken to the military base. In the next scene, the parents go to talk to the captain, who tells them to calm down and reassures them about their children. But he doesn't mention what happened in the farm. He tells them that despite the efforts Daria and Dave made, none of the kids were injured, but they still need to put them under observation for 40 hours in the camp to ensure none of them are hurt. After that, things will return to normal. On the other side, we see Daria and Dave singing and dancing with the kids. And here, our movie ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to get all the new updates.